Who needs a vertical stabilizer? Because look, I am flying the 717-200. It works with any other commercial airliner and simple planes. But look, no vertical stabilizer at all, and we are still flying. Just because there are sudden movements, we could just control right out of those. Look, the plane kind of just dips. Okay, this plane kind of fails at its job of, this thing sucks. This thing's just bad. It was flying stably for a second. It just, there's no way without it just flips out of control like that. There's no way. Okay, we're gonna grab. How about we grab the MD-90? No, how about the MD-11? Nope, we do not need the vertical stabilizer in this thing. Look, the thing is just, we could just keep the third engine there. That'll kind of act like it's the stabilizer, I guess, but, we really don't need it. Honestly. We honestly really don't need the vertical stabilizer in these kinds of planes where the vertical stabilizer's on top. The vertical stabilizers are connected to the plane. It's the fuselage, so you don't have to move those. Like, we just took off. This thing is probably a lot more sensitive to movement, but we're gonna see if this thing can take off and fly, of course, without a vertical stabilizer. Now, obviously, this thing's just doing really well. It's not making any sort of sudden movements. It's doing nothing. I guess the engine really does act like a vertical stabilizer because of all the weight, and it just doesn't really allow for many sudden movements. The MD-11's perfect for doing it with. I guess you don't need no vertical stabilizer for the MD-11 because it shows. Look at this. That's proof of the fact we don't need vertical stabilizers on planes anymore. Like, look, you could literally fly without it, very much without it, and it still works. Like, we are literally flying this plane, and we have not crashed. We have not made any sort of sudden movements. Yes, we do need vertical stabilizers in real life. I'm just making this as a joke. Please don't take it seriously. But yeah, see? This plane works without a vertical stabilizer. Like, look how good this thing is. No sudden movements, no sudden loss of control. Like, if we just keep it stable. Okay, now that we've moved it a little bit, I can see why we would need it, but yeah, see? No sort of sudden movements like pulling up, banking to the right or left. Kind of dips a little more than usual, but, that's the only problem is it kind of just starts doing its own thing after a while, but, this plane seems to just have worked perfectly without one. Like, we really don't need it at all. Like, look, we could do all the movements we could with it. We could just pull up, pull down, bank left, bank right. It doesn't matter what we do with this thing. This thing just will not start going down. It's kind of like, it's a really good without the vertical stabilizer. I think the MD-11's actually easier to fly without it. I don't know. Maybe actually is better to fly without a vertical stabilizer. What do you guys think? This is definitely very weird to see. If in real life you saw this, what would you do? What would you do if you were flying in an MD-11 and you realized there was no vertical stabilizer? What would you do? In real life, this thing would probably be done by now and probably be in the ocean, but this thing just shows that we don't really need them anymore. They're kind of pointless. They just add weight to a plane. Yes, we do need them in real life. I'm just making this as a joke. Please don't take it too seriously. But yeah, this thing's just doing super duper well with countering the movement because of that engine that's added lots of weight. I bet the vertical stabilizer probably helped it not make really that many sudden movements, but we're kind of banking a little bit. You could see the effects of not having one not really showing, but they're there. like, the effects are kind of obvious. Like, it kind of makes the plane do its own thing a little bit, but the plane just doesn't want to do it. Like, it's about my movements that move it around a little bit. You guys see me doing all kinds of random movements with the plane, and it just still has not dipped and crashed yet. I am glad and actually really surprised that this thing has not shown effect of not having one. But it's not about just this plane that can do it. You know, we're going to see what a two-story plane would be like doing this. So we're going to go into the filter, search up A380 here. Just grab the A380 here. Just absolutely remove the vertical stabilizer, as we don't need this thing at all, and it shows we don't need it. So we're gonna fly with the A380 and see what happens. Bro, I do not care. We're flying. We're not. Are we still able to fly? Okay, on planes like the A380, the effects without having a vertical stabilizer kind of show. But yeah, you can see the A380 doesn't really want to fly without a vertical stabilizer. But the MD-11 showed that it would work. On certain planes, it would work. How about the MD-90? No, how about the A340-600? Not the A340-600, the A300-600. How would this thing do without a vertical stabilizer? I just removed the thing. I'm going to take this piece off. I don't know why it's even there, but, you know, that was probably for stability control. I don't know. And I do not give 4,200 shits. But, can this thing fly without a vertical stabilizer? It looks like it could. You know, it definitely looks like it could. We're going to wait till it gets to around 200. Nope, we could take off right now if we wanted to. Put the gear up. Reduce the drag on this thing a little bit. You know? The effects of the no vertical stabilizer kind of show on this thing too. It's kind of like the MD-11. Like, well, if you have 3 or less engines, you could theoretically do it the smaller your plane was. If it's an A380, then it would not work. But, you know, I really think not having a vertical stabilizer on planes like these, it just makes a lot of sense. Because this plane has a 100% stability. It kind of makes a few random movements here and there, but it's not to the point where you will crash into the ocean and die. It's more of like some smaller effects that don't really do much to the plane. It's all you that does it, of course. Now that's my scientific fact. It is 100% true that the vertical stabilizer is important on planes in real life. This is a joke, of course. Obviously, planes cannot fly without a vertical stabilizer. It would be hectic if they did not have one. This is just the simple plane's gravity being weird. Can't we fly inverted? We are basically flying inverted right now. We are very much flying inverted right now. We are flying inverted. We're pulling up. We're flying inverted right now with no vertical stabilizer. Look at this thing. But yeah,